part 4 of the sculptural composition, the final result. In this video I'll show you how I finished my project that was starting from the small sculptures like this and became a huge garden sculpture. Well, not huge, but in my opinion it's huge, but if you would look at it, it's not like it's Eiffel Tower or something like that. It's just in my opinion, in my scale of things, this is huge sculpture. Let's begin. In my previous video I shared with you how I was creating concrete sculptures of magpie, hedgehog and hare. To finish the sculpture I had the idea that I need to make the surface of the sculpture smooth, plus I needed to add concrete to the places, to the empty places of the sculpture where I forgot to add concrete for the bottom of the sculptures and things like that. So this is what I've been doing. Problems started when I was trying to use concrete plus plastificator and was trying to make the sculpture surface of the sculpture smooth. They not only not became smooth, I think they only became worse. They became even more uneven than they were before, and honestly at this point I give up on trying to make my sculpture smooth. I was trying to use sandpaper and also this thing that I don't know how to translate, and it worked, but it was not ideal. And I know that there are the ways to make sculptures smooth if you have advanced tools. I don't have these advanced tools, so I was trying to do something with what I had, and also I realized that in my concrete there were a lot of sand in it, and this sand for some reason was on the upper layers of the liquid concrete. So when I was trying to add this to the surface, what it did instead, it added a lot of sand to the surface, so my surface became even more uneven and rough. When I gave up on trying to smooth my sculpture, I started adding white paint. I covered all my sculptures with white paint, plus I covered the stump in the garden with white paint. I covered the stump with concrete too, because this stump had deep holes in it, plus there were insects in it, so I needed to cover this with concrete so it would be even. And then I painted the circles on the surface of the stump to make it more like its stump. In fact, I was adding white paint not in one day but in several days, because my sculptures are huge, plus I needed to cover different sides of the sculptures. Few sides are drying, I need to wait, then I need to turn around my sculpture and to cover bottom of it. So I was going back and forth with covering this with white paint. in the end, I have a result. So yeah, this is how this project turned out. Yesterday when I was looking at it, I was very upset and disappointed because I didn't see the final version of the sculptures in a daylight, only in a house. So when I brought it to the daylight, I saw how uneven and rough surfaces were looking, and not the result that I wanted. But I decided that I'm gonna leave it here. I have no idea how to correct it, so this is the final result. If you remember my older videos, I started from sculptural plasticine, then I made the plaster version of the sculptures, and this is my final concrete version of the sculptures. If you would look at the photos before and after, you would see how my magpie is doing push-ups or something like that, because with every new version of the sculpture, my magpie was lower and lower because her legs could not comprehend the weight of the sculpture. So my magpie, in the final version of the sculpture, my magpie is laying on the stump and not standing on it. So yeah, that's the end of the project. I'm relieved that this is over. The wisest decision would be if I would use concrete and would make smaller sculptures. This way I would be able to learn more about my material and to learn how to work with it. And not to make all the mistakes on the final version of sculpture. But it is what it is. It is already in the past. This project doesn't matter anymore. I'm always treating my older projects like it was in the past, and so it doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, you know what? I think I'm done playing sculpture. I have to admit that I'm not a sculptor, and this is not because I don't have necessary skills. I also don't have necessary skills to be a sculptor, but because I'm someone who is always terrible with understanding materials. I'm good at improvising when I'm drawing and painting or when I'm animating, but when I have to improvise with more tangible, more how to say 3D versions of the art, with sculpting, it's always a mess. When I start improvising, it's always a disaster because I cannot predict anything at all. Even if I Google, even I watch how other people do that, it's always turning into the disaster. And this is not only about. And I'm not only talking about the sculptures. This is also with some things like cooking. I'm good when I need to cook something and I have a recipe. But when I don't have a recipe and I started improvising and doing something like, oh, I want to use a few recipes or create my own recipe and cook something, it's always turned out the disaster because I don't understand materials. I can call it the food also as a material. It's always a disaster. My best way of working with the sculpting or even cooking, when I have a plan, when I have a recipe, when I have step-by-step process, when people would tell me, no, if you add more water, it would not save the situation. In fact, it would drown all of the environment that around you, and it would be stupid, don't do that. Or something like, no, if you would add plastificator and water and then try to use only the surface of the concrete, it would not do miracles. It would add more bumps on the sculptures and it would look weird, don't do that. Or something like, no, don't add dry silicone to the liquid silicone. It's not always going to work. Sometimes it would not stick together and your whole sculpture would turn into the disaster. So yeah, I don't know, drawing and animating more predictable. And no, this is not because I studied drawing. This is not because I'm a professional artist and I graduated university and I was in art school for children and I was in art courses and blah blah blah. I mean, of course, yes, this is also true, but I'm talking right now about animating. I don't know how to animate. I watch, well, I also was viewing few courses, but most of it is my improvisation, and improvising in animating is much easier for me than improvising in sculpting. When I'm trying to improvise in sculpting, it's always a disaster. When I'm improvising in animating, I have good results. So yeah, I think, you know what's the problem? I'm someone who is so used to be like, oh, my paintings usually turn out to be good, my animations are good, and when I try to work on something that I've never worked before, my ego is my self-esteem is dropping to the bottom of the sea and tells me like, yeah, you believe that you are an artist and jack of all trades and you can do anything. Now have a sculpture. I feel it seems like your self-esteem is too high. You need to lower your expectation and not to be so to be so confident. So yeah, maybe this is useful for someone like me to show me that no, you can do anything in this world. There are things that you are not going to be good at, and I know that people would be like, no, you should just try more and it would be better. Yeah, I know that. This is just some things comes naturally to me, while other things are much more difficult. And I could, and I'm not saying that I could not become a good sculptor. I can, but I need to work twice hard than it for me when compared to if I would work in other areas, something like animating, or I don't know, writing or painting. So yeah. I guess this is a very long explanation of why I'm not going to be sculpting in the near future. By the way, fun fact about me, when I was in art school for children and we were sculpting with plasticine and with clay, I was never good at it. It is just when I was 12 or 13 years old. At the end of 2023, when I started sculpting again, I was surprised that some of my sculpture turned out to be good and not complete disaster. And well, I know why this is. This is because I became better at drawing. I understand the shapes better than compared to what it was in the past. So this is why sculpting for me is easier. The main problem with sculpting is not that I cannot sculpt and don't see the shapes. As I mentioned before, is usually problems with materials, that I have no idea how to work with materials. By the way, I forgot to add this into this video. I want to add this. When this happened to me in real life, it was scary. But looking back at the footage, I don't know, this looks so funny. So for anyone who is working with the concrete, you should always use gloves. Plus, you should not have concrete in your eyes or breathe it or eat it, obviously, because this is poisonous. I didn't know back then, so I was touching the liquid concrete with my bare hands. Later my hands were hurting. So I stopped doing that. What I wanted to say, when I was sculpting and one day I was applying the concrete, and all of a sudden my tool met the dry surface of the concrete, and all of a sudden liquid concrete decided to explode and it went straight into my eyes. And before that, the day before that, I was reading on the internet how dangerous liquid concrete is, that it can burn your skin straight to the bones. And I was like, oh my god, I'm going to die, oh my god. I was, oh no, what do I do? I started panicking. I ran to the outside sink. I started pouring water in my eyes, and this footage looks like I'm in a comedy show or something like that. I don't know, it's just so funny. And what I did, I was not fully aware what I was doing, I took the bucket of water and started pouring into my eyes, and all the water was dripping to my t-shirt. I was all wet, and nothing almost was in my eyes, so it's my eyes were not fully clean after my attempts to pour the water into my eyes. So I started panicking more. I was adding more water to my eyes. And I don't know, this was funny. And then I had to, then I was like, everything's fine, my eyes are fine. And I had to change my t-shirt because it was, my other t-shirt was soaking wet, and this was, I don't know, the footage is so funny, and maybe this is not funny for some of you, but for me this is funny. I know this looks so ridiculous. So yeah, this is also my reminder for all of you who is working with concrete to wear glasses, because glasses, or to protect your nose and your mouth, because, well, this is dangerous stuff. So yeah, that's the end of the project and the end of this video. I think soon I'll post another video, because it's Monday I posted the video, but then I quickly deleted it because in this video I was complaining about Amazon, but everything then turned out okay, and my problems were solved, so I was like, there's no point to complaining, so I deleted this video, and maybe I'll post this again, post the drawings that were in this video again, but I changed the talking part of the video. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in next videos. Bye.